Tonight on Beyond the Headlines, the diplomatic storm around Donald Trump's threat of military action in Nigeria is yet again gaining momentum. The European Union and ECOWAS are calling for restraint, warning against using religion as a weapon. China, we told you yesterday, is standing firmly with President Tinubu, urging the world to respect Nigeria's sovereignty and reject any use of force. But back home, the political reactions are sharp. The Labour Party says the U.S. country of particular concern tag is deeply alarming, linking Nigeria's deepening insecurity to failures of leadership under the ruling party. For the African Democratic Congress, ADC, it blames government's inaction for the growing crisis, however warning that any foreign military intervention would be disastrous for Nigeria's democracy and unity. So beyond the diplomacy, what's really at stake politically, especially as defections continue to swell the APC's ranks and 2027 slowly takes shape. I'm joined on the show today by Umar Jijiwa, who's APC youth advocate and Director General of the Youth Jagaban Network. We will explore the politics behind the outrage, from the Christian genocide allegations to Nigeria's response, and of course, what all of this mean for power, perception, and democracy. Comrade, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. While the opposition appears to agree that a military action by the U.S. in Nigeria isn't really the solution, they have also noted very strongly that we are where we are today largely because of failure of government, and that government practically needed the U.S. government to put it under pressure to work. How do you react to this?
Thank you for having me. You know, there comes a time that we have to put politics aside, and then we have to start talking about Nigeria as a country, because some of the things that are happening is politics taking too far. So there are times whereby we have to stop the politics, we have to move it aside. And then we remember that we are all Nigerians and we are all fighting for the same Nigeria. Nigeria is a country, is an independent country. No foreign power has the right to put a foot into our country, into our territory, in the guise of whatever it is, unless, of course, if we are working with them. Now, what we are talking about here are the claims being made about genocide, which we all know is completely unfounded, because there's no attack on any certain group of people in this country. When something happens in the north, it's mainly northerners that will suffer. When it happens in the south, it is the southerners that are going to suffer. If it happens in a place that has Muslims, it is Muslims that will suffer. So there is no particular attack on any sect or any religion or any tribe in Nigeria. It's just unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position that we are in now, because I believe the President of the United States was a bit rash, and I don't think he has full intel on what is happening in Nigeria. Because anybody that knows what is happening in Nigeria knows what is happening today, and knows what happened yesterday, and knows what happened 10 years ago.
And I've heard that narrative before as well. It, however, sounds a little bit unbelievable that the U.S. president will lack intelligence in that regard. But I want to read for you precisely what Peter Obi said. I am quoting an excerpt from his tweet. While insecurity did not start with the present government, what is most unfortunate is the lack and absence of competence, commitment, prudent use of resources, patriotism, and passion on the part of the APC-led government and leaders to effectively govern, galvanize, and lead Nigeria, where no one is unwarrantedly oppressed and killed. A nation where peace, truth, and justice live. End quote. Is there a sense to which you agree that your party, the APC, wasn't able to deliver that kind of nation for us in the past 10 years?
It's just a case of a particular character using the platform that he has to say what he wants to say. Of course, at any point that we lose a single life, it is a major issue in Nigeria. Even if one citizen is killed, it is unfortunate. Talk less more of the numbers that sometimes we hear. But yes, insecurity did not start under this government. He was right about that. So I have to give kudos to him for accepting the fact that this government are not the people that started this insecurity. And his own claims is that the government are not doing enough about the insecurity. That is his own opinion. But when we see the facts on ground, I beg to differ. Because to me, I remember clearly where we were before. There was a time in this country that by this time, 6 p.m., some people in the Northeast have to run back home. We remember these times when Chibok girls were kidnapped in this country. People walking into schools, kidnapping everybody and going. People did a bomb here in Abuja. Louis Edeta's police headquarters, UN. I mean, I'm very young, no doubt about it. But I'm not too young to remember what happened where we were and where we are now. It is, of course, understanding if an opposition figure would definitely gain some political points on some of these issues. But I believe, out of respect for him, I would say it's an opinion. I will not say that it is wrong, but I'm telling you that that is his own opinion. I don't agree with it at all.
You know that voices in the opposition believe strongly that insecurity is a governance failure, and primarily it is the responsibility of government to cater to security and welfare of the people, especially those who have lost loved ones, you know, in the middle belt, who continue to suffer losses. They don't care where the help is coming from. They believe that whatever the U.S. is saying right now is a plus for them because it puts this government under pressure to deliver in that regard. There are conversations as to how the APC will translate international sympathy that we are getting from China, from ECOWAS, from the EU into measurable security outcomes. But do you agree that the Tinubu government will now have to do better in terms of insecurity to be able to stand a chance in 2027? Do you think it's a challenge now for your party?
Hello? I can't hear you clearly. Can you repeat what you said?
Well, I'm asking if you agree that the Tinubu administration will now have to, you know, do better in fighting insecurity if it will stand a chance in 2027.
The Tinubu government worked very, very hard to achieve the level of security that we have. But yes, we need better. Reason is simple. Everybody knows that the reward for hard work is more work. So yes, they need to work more, not because they were not working well before. The government are doing what they can. They are doing their best, and we are seeing what they are doing. If we need any aid from any international body, please approve those weapons to us. Let us go into the bush and let us clear these people out. We have the manpower, no doubt about it. But of course, as we all know, when it comes about weapons and other issues of security, you have to just use what you have. So if the President of the United States is going to give us guns, give us those helicopters you don't want to give to us. You don't need to even suffer yourself. You don't need to even send a single American here. Don't even put your people at risk for our own problem. Don't worry about it. Give us those helicopters and give us the things that we need. You don't need to even risk your own person. We have the people here that are ready to risk their own lives. They are soldiers. They are called army men. They swore to die for us.
In the contrary, comrade, it was the Trump administration that lifted that embargo and started selling arms to Nigeria. But, you know, the point here is whether or not government is doing enough, you know, because opponents, for instance, argue slow ambassadorial appointments and what they call weak diplomacy, which has worsened our image abroad. As an APC youth leader, do you agree that this government has been rather slow in this regard and that perhaps it didn't anticipate the need to reset the narrative for the past 2 years?
Okay. You see, we need ambassadors. We do. If you remember what the president said some time back, I don't know whether the explanation is going to be enough for everyone or not. But they are talking about resources. And from the way the president explained it, and I believe Daniel Bola also spoke about the same thing, and said already there are people that are heading these embassies in those places that already can do the job. And that's why the president was taking his time before he brought out ambassadors. I am not in the inner caucus of government, but I want to understand and I want to trust that the president, whatever actions he takes, he's doing it in the best interest of this country. I am not close enough to say, okay, this is the reason, that is the reason, no. But yes, we do need ambassadors. We need people to sell this country. We need people that are going to go out, being sent by us, to represent us, to speak for us, and to get us investors back into this country. We do. We need ambassadors, and we need them as soon as we can. 2 years have gone.
We saw President Ramaphosa meet President Trump in the Oval Office following allegations of white farmers being killed and persecuted. Do you think it's high time President Tinubu had his own Oval Office experience?
His own Oval Office experience?
I'm talking about meeting with...
Is that what you said?
Yes, I'm talking about meeting with President Trump, perhaps to have a conversation and help him understand precisely what's happening here, since you said perhaps he didn't get his intel right.
Yes, of course. We have a president of Nigeria. They have a president in the United States. It is only natural that as colleagues, they come together and they contribute to each other, in a partnership for mutual interest, for national development, even to have allies. So, of course, I believe the president of Nigeria should have a meeting with the president of the United States. Not only because there's this issue on ground, but because Nigeria is a powerhouse in Africa, the largest black nation. The United States, well, if you accept what they're saying, call themselves the most powerful country in the world. I believe we are so powerful in Africa. So, of course, we should have allies of that kind of level, which is the United States.
It's interesting that this development is happening on the heels of the Nigerian military addressing coup allegation narratives in some quarters. Do you think your party will benefit politically, outrightly and transparently addressing these rumors rather than overlooking it?
You're talking about the coup allegations?
Exactly.
Well, as you said, coup allegations. They're allegations. We have no concrete proof. I mean, we read a few things on paper, but I've been opportuned to be around certain people in this country that are very high up there in the security sector in this country. And I know that the president is not under any tension from any group of soldiers. The government has come out and they said the coup thing is not real. As a follower, as a faithful follower of our president, which I believe, even in my religion, they say, follow your leaders. Nigerians need to start to trust their leaders a bit more. Since the government, the army, has said it is not so, I will also stand on that position to say that it is not so. Because I don't think that my government are going to lie. As a Nigerian, I believe in the integrity of this country, and I want to believe that my government has integrity. If they said, I accept it. Yes, as other Nigerians, I'm also curious. And I've read a lot. And I know all the propaganda. I know all the stories that are out there, just like every other person knows about it. But at the end of the day, it is only the person that wears the shoes that knows where it pinches. They said that they're okay. I also saw that we changed service chiefs, and I saw that some arrests were made. But they came out to tell us that it is not a coup issue. It is something else. So I want to believe that my government is secure. There's no such thing as coup.
Omar Jijiwa is APC Youth Advocate. He's also the Director General for the Youth Jagaban Network. He joins us live from our studio in Abuja. Thank you for staying the course, comrade. Let's discuss politics now, because we've seen the president consolidate power with the wave of defections of governors into the APC. But you know, the thing is, many see these moves as mere tactical ahead of 2027 rather than real ideological alignment. From a youth perspective, what do these defections signal about your party's mandate and its legitimacy?
It gives us more legitimacy, and it shows us how more and more people are interested in joining the renewed hope train that is going on in this country now. We have people that have defected into the APC. Others, or should I say a few, might just have done that because other people also did it. Some people are doing it for their own political survival. This is politics. Nigeria is not a country that has ideological parties. The first thing in this country we have to remember is that for you to attain any political position, you have to go through a political party. Without the political party, you lack the platform, you lack the tools for you to attain that mandate, for you to be able to help your people. Without it, we can't go into elections. So you need political parties. And you can't blame anyone for seeing a car with no driver, and then they refuse to enter and they run to a car that has a driver. It is simply for sustainability. It is simply just because they want to know that there's a direction somewhere. At least in the APC, it is obvious, we can see that most of us have already accepted the fact that, okay, we have a leader, and that's the president.
But is that really the reason why they are joining? Because we had the information minister the other day anticipate 30 governors for the APC by next year. It's like your party is ready to take in just anyone, so far as they deliver votes. What does that, where exactly does that place the APC ideologically? Because these are the same people you campaign against, you know, in 2023.
Nigeria, as I said to you earlier, our parties are not ideologically driven. They were not ideologically created. They were created as tools and platforms to win elections. Yes, that's the truth, you know. And we have to accept the fact. It will have been a much better case if we had ideological parties and we can have ideological elections and, you know, we can have that kind of, but that's not the case in Nigeria. We have to accept it. These are platforms created to win elections. Because without winning the elections, you can't have the mandate to participate in governance. And that loophole there is the reason why we are seeing people jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. As long as that is the vehicle that is going to take them to where they want to go. And that's the situation that we have here in Nigeria. People are joining the APC. People are joining the APC because they feel that the APC is the best platform for them to get a mandate and support their people and bring development to their country. That is the best way for them to participate in governance. The other parties all have question marks. At least in the APC, we know, okay, we have a president, he's the leader of the party. So even if you have ambition or whatnot, you just have to follow it like that. So there's order. But in the other political parties, we see people that are jumping over each other, having issues, creating crises, doing so much. We have a party here now that was leading Nigeria, that today they don't even know whether they are going to have a convention because they cannot get a chairman and a secretary to agree to sign a document to INEC. In the APC, all their issues are not there. So based on that alone, if you have a sound mind, and okay, you are a serious person in this country that wants to go into serious things, you want to represent your people, you want to have the mandate to do the job, And you don't want some of this unnecessary noise. You don't want to start dealing with issues of who is going to give me the form. What if they go to, you don't want to deal with these things. You want to focus more on development of your people as a governor. That is why.
Well, at least we have
APC, because at least there's stability.
At least we eventually have a.
At least there's stability.
Yes, but what I even wanted to say is that at least we eventually have a politician who acknowledges on national TV that our parties lack ideology, and that is mainly responsible for the frequency with which people can leave and join at will. But you know that young people in Nigeria are watching, because beyond the platform upon which these politicians, contest, what matters to them is governance and the quality of leadership that we get post-election. What is your network, for instance, doing now to convince these young Nigerians that the APC can deliver security, can protect democratic norms, even as we count down to 2027?
Well, it is a good thing that we don't need to do too much convincing, because the president is a popular one and the party is a popular party. If not, we will not be having these numbers coming into the party. So, being able to convince other young people is not really going to be a hard job to do.
Is there a sense to which you are confusing popularity amongst political elites with majority of Nigerians? Because there is no way you can test the popularity of a politician until you go to the polls. The fact that governors are joining your party may not necessarily mean that your party enjoys solidarity and support of majority of Nigerians. Do you agree?
I agree, or should I say, I understand the position that you're taking. But then I need to ask you a question, right? What metric do you want to use in knowing the popularity of the party if the election is not on you already? Are you going to wait until after the election, then you count and say, okay, yeah, this is more popular? You have to create methods and ways that you are going to use to scale, even if it is not completely official, even if it is not scientific. But you just want to have a formula that you can use at least to scale something. Now, these governors that are coming into the party, they won elections. They won their elections. So if we want to use that by just that metric, we'll say, okay, yes, we are having more people because they will come with their people. But yes, you cannot use that to test the popularity of a candidate or a party, because only the elections can actually tell you the reality of popularity.
If I give you 30 seconds, because we have to go now, to speak directly to Nigerians who are worried about sovereignty, security, political maneuvering ahead of 2027, what is your single most honest thought in this regard?
Nigerians, we need to start being Nigerians before we become anything else. Without a Nigeria, there's no country that we want to run to hold office for. If we don't have a Nigeria, there's no point of wanting to be a president. If we don't have a Nigeria, we are all wasting our time here. So there comes a time when we have to go above politics and go into national interest, go into national collaboration. Let us stand up and fight for our country, because nobody is going to do it for us. It is important that, yes, we hold our government accountable. And politics, that is the reason for it. And that's why we have opposition here. But there are times, as Ronald Reagan said, the only time you see everyone together is if we had an alien invasion into this world. Everybody is going to be the same. Everybody is going to be one and fight a common enemy. So there are times that we have to come as Nigerians, not as APC or PT, as Nigerians to support our country.
Good place to live it. Comrade Omar Jijiwa, APC Youth Advocate, DG Youth Jagaban Network. Thank you for talking to us on Beyond the Headlines.
Thank you so much.
That's our show today, everyone. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, you can watch it again at midnight and 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.